manage the decline of their countries and make that a profitable thing for themselves politically, because the more Muslims you import, if you're able to attract the Muslim vote, of course you're going to get yourself re-elected. And that's exactly what you see in America and California with this push for illegals, because it's the only way Democrats to know to get themselves re-elected is to import voters that will of course vote for them.
Of HopkinsWorld.com. So let me ask you this question. As the EU accelerates its collapse, as they threaten Eastern Europe with, 100,000 euro fines, they don't take in the illegals, it seems it's only waking people up faster. Looking at the tea leaves, what do you expect to see happening in the next few years? It seems like globalism is just being routed.
Yes, and this is the exciting thing, and that's what that picture said to me of Trump with his arms crossed, with Merkel and Macron and Trudeau in the back of the room, stood there with Japan. You'll have heard, given that I'm reporting from Russia for you today, you'll have heard Trump say very clearly, very carefully, on a number of occasions, Putin should be back in the room. Putin should be back with the G8. And that's precisely what I see happening. A realignment between Putin, America and Japan as the fight back against the globalists really begins. Where people here in Russia, they believe they are Russian first and they will put the Russian culture first. And they are 85% Christians here in St. Petersburg. Same for America with Trump, and I think Japan coming in very nicely. This is the fight back against the globalists, and this is where it all starts. And I'm thoroughly thrilled and excited by it.
That's right. Well, Japan's taken 0 refugees, just like Saudi Arabia. And Japan, you look at the photos, but also policy. South Korea fully aligned with us. Australia is now aligning. The UK, leading the way with Brexit. So it's the UK, the United States, a few pockets in Europe waking up, Australia, and just free market people worldwide. Brazil's starting to wake up, aligning against the communist Chinese, the radical Islamicists, the corrupt Vatican, the unelected EU, and Hollywood. I think we're going to win this, Katie Hopkins. We're going to come back in just 2 minutes, do 5 more minutes with you. I want to ask you about Free Tommy Robinson, a powerful video you have at HopkinsWorld.com. You also have it on your Twitter. We're going to play some of that when we come back and get Owen Schroyer to pop in with his take. KT Hopkins at Twitter. Be sure and follow that. I'm Alex Jones, Real Alex Jones on Twitter. Be sure and retweet those. So history is happening all around us. Incredible things are unfolding. We have some amazing guests coming up in the next segment as Democrats being confronted. Bill Clinton, Joe Biden, for their criminal activities are being confronted everywhere. That's coming up. A ton of other breaking news with Owen Schroyer, who's riding shotgun from the ATX. Katie Hopkins is here. We're going to air her powerful video after she leaves us at the start of the next segment from the Free Tommy Robinson rally. I mean, all the different HD cuts you didn't see in the live feeds. That's going to be coming up start of the next segment. But Katie, just an update on Tommy Robinson from your sources. I'm also talking to his crew later today. How that's ignited people, how that's awakened people, and then other tidbits of what you've observed there in Christian Russia.
Thank you. So I just wanted to update you with some breaking news. Parliament, so this is in the UK, and today the House of Lords were voting on Brexit, and it's been very tense. It's about whether Parliament will get a final meaningful vote on Brexit, which meant that Parliament could have overturned Brexit, so the Remainers could have managed to have a final say on the Brexit I voted for and Brexiteers voted for. And it's just been announced, breaking news, Parliament will not get a meaningful vote on the final Brexit deal after MPs voted to reject the House of Lords amendment. So what that means is Theresa May goes into this final negotiating round with the EU with a much strengthened hand, because Parliament will not get a final say on the deal, and that's a very great thing for Brexiteers like myself. So sorry for that, but back to...
Well, no, please don't say sorry. Please, no, we should have led with that. I didn't even realize that vote had already come up. Wow. Spend another minute before we get to Tommy. I mean, because he's important, but wow, that'd be good news for him as well. I mean, just recapping that. So this is a big victory for sovereignty.
Yes, so MPs voted by 324 votes to 298, a majority of 26, to reject the amendment passed in the Lords, enabling Parliament to take charge of the negotiating strategy if MPs voted against the Brexit deal. So that will not happen. Parliament will not be able to take charge of the negotiating strategy which means a much better deal for Brexiteers because we are much more likely to get the Brexit we wanted, because MPs, the people we voted for, won't be able to overturn the decision of 17.4 million people. So that's a fantastic thing, but it does because the House of Lords want to put Parliament in control.
And no longer is it actual lords that go back to England. And for people that don't know, that's now bureaucratically installed folks, almost like the EU permanent bureaucracy. It's this dictatorship. It's almost like a communist Politburo.
Oh, absolutely. And I can see in my lifetime the House of Lords being abolished. Absolutely. The British people aren't going to take this lying down at all. Most of them are geriatrics over the age of 85. They have to have waterproof flooring because they're all doubly incontinent. So it's time they were all got rid of.
I totally agree. They need to abolish it and create another House of Parliament. You need two systems. You mean,
get
right?
rid of it. They all got told off last week for sleeping while they're in there. They go in there, they get their $500 expenses a day, and then
Listen,
they go
I know
to sleep.
It's nighttime over in Russia, and you've got important things to do, but we got to do the Tommy Robinson update. We've got a 1-minute break, and then I'm going to come back and just give me 2 minutes on how Tommy is doing, and then we'll play your video, but you'll be gone. Katie, thank you so much. But just in 50 seconds we have going to break, what's the spirit in Russia right now?
It's fantastic over here. You know, we have this idea that Putin's a monster. It doesn't seem like that. Everybody's out in the street partying. It's white nights here, only 4 hours of darkness a night. And it's very open. It's very Russian. It's very Catholic and Christian. There's no litter on the streets. People here don't overconsume. I love it.
So Russia looks strong from your perspective.
Absolutely, it looks strong, and I think for too long we've made Putin out to be the monster, and I don't see a monster here at all. In fact, I see a Russia very like America that's willing to put Russia first, and that's a positive thing for America, and it's a positive thing in the fight against the globalists.
And that makes Hollywood so upset. Boy, the Hollywood folks had control of Russia for 80-something years, but that's all coming to an end, scumbags. We'll be back in 60 seconds with Katie Hopkins.
Former United States of America, from deep in the heart of Texas, it's Alex Jones.
Well, this just broke minutes ago. They have voted in the UK Parliament to not allow the Brexit to be derailed and to have Brexit continue and to honor the vote of the people, despite what Theresa May and the neocons they've got over there are doing on the left. This is another big defeat for the unelected EU bureaucracy. This is a big defeat for the globalists, a big win for nationalism on the heels of Italy becoming nationalist with a leftist and nationalist conservative unity government. You've got elections all over the world, similar things happening. Very, very exciting things unfolding. Now, Katie Hopkins, journalist, Fox News contributor, hopkinsworld.com. She's over in St. Petersburg. She was just reporting on the Russians being Christian, vibrant, strong, panicking Hollywood, and the globalist poison dealers, the psychic vampires. But the sad news is our political prisoners. She'll leave us here in a few minutes. We'll air a compilation of Free Tommy Robinson and then move to our next big stories. But we do have political prisoners. They like to make us all political prisoners. We forget the EU wants to make it illegal to even criticize the EU or talk about how they're tax exempt at the top. The latest on Tommy Robinson.
Yeah, so, he's inside for 13 months, and it still is one of those crucial points of argument. There's a great deal of people here in the UK that say, well, he knew what he was doing. He had an order out against him. He was told not to be outside the court. It's contempt of court. He pled guilty, case closed. But of course, there's much more rational people like myself, who understand that all he was trying to do was shine a light on the Pakistani majority Pakistani Muslim grooming gangs, the rape squads that have been raping our children. And my message to all these people that criticize Tommy is always this. If he had turned a blind eye, just like the police turned a blind eye, just like the social services turned a blind eye to the victims, we wouldn't be in this mess in the first place if all those people who had turned a blind eye continue to speak the truth. And that's all Tommy Robinson's trying to do, is shine a light on this issue. The idea that he was sentenced to 13 months in just 5 hours, where was the swift justice for the Muslim pedophiles that were abusing our children? And 13 months inside, it's a known fact. Some of the people I work with that work inside prisons that talk to me, they say, we'll just take one warden who's paid or bribed by the Muslim gangs that control a lot of our prisons, one warden to be bribed to open that cell door, and Tommy will not survive his time inside. So that's really the worry. And when I see people criticizing Putin for silencing journalists like Majinsky here, there's a big Majinsky Act, I don't see the UK as being much different. The establishment don't like what Tommy Robinson have to say. He stands against their ultimate being cowed to Islam, and because he got in the way, they've thrown him inside. And it's just the same for us. It's the establishment way of cleansing people whose voices they don't want heard. So I don't see any difference between the allegations levelled at Putin and the actions of Theresa May and the establishment putting Tommy Robinson inside. He definitely needs to be out of prison for his own safety, and there's no reason for him to be behind bars.
Well, I totally agree with you. And if the Islamicists are so stupid, as they've almost killed him before in prison, to think if they kill him that will defeat him, that will only make him 100 times bigger, it just shows their total and complete disconnect. But again, people that don't understand, in parliamentary systems, if you've got 5-10% of the population that votes as a bloc, you can then put whatever party you want in, pushing them over the top. That's why Europe's rolled out a giant red bloody carpet to Islam. And of course, the biggest victim of Islam are Muslims who aren't radical. Many Muslims are nice people. They're called heretics. But the whole orthodoxy is targeting them. So I just want to make this point. Judges using the, quote, gag orders inside the court's one thing, but saying outside, don't even be out there pointing out that there's a trial happening. That is a absolute violation of jurisprudence. English common law, our common law is the same thing. I know the law. I've talked to lawyers. I've talked to lawyers over in your country. This is a giant power grab. These D-notices, all of it, they are using this to suppress speech. They banned Michael Savage from coming to your country. They've asked me when I'm flying in, am I going to be political? If so, I can't come in. And absolutely, Russia has targeted a few journalists that have been proven to be CIA funded, foreign funded. Like the rock bands they send over there, whose names I can't even say on air because really to overthrow the country. Well, I don't want China over here. China just got banned from buying up U.S. universities and putting out communist Chinese propaganda. Trump just did that a few weeks ago with executive action because that's a foreign power. And that's what I see Putin doing, is going after foreign powers in his country. No. In England and the UK, it's people standing up for your sovereignty, standing up for your nation, are the ones being targeted and silenced. That's what I call treason by the government. What do you say in closing?
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. There's this real sense now in the UK that it's the people versus the establishment. The crowds are not dissipating. They are growing in size, in number. The mainstream media won't report it. And I think it will be very interesting if Tommy Robinson does make it out of prison alive. His voice is going to be louder than ever. And it's really this resurgent idea that the British people are going to be standing up for Great Britain, supported by populists in Europe and supported by Donald Trump in America. And for him and for you, we're very grateful.
All right, HopkinsWorld.com. Thank you, Katie Hopkins. Always amazing.
Thank you.